we'll start the meeting. So David, please.
Good morning, everyone. As Hafa said, my name is David Bair, and I'm the high school principal here at the American School of Brasilia. I'm beginning my 8th year at EAB. I have 3 children who are in the lower school. So, and my wife is also an employee of the school. So for my family, EAB is certainly a family affair, if you will. And we are all happy at the school, and I'm excited to be here with you today. Welcome.
All right, and I'll introduce myself. Thanks, David, for that. Hi, everybody. My name's Adele Gott, and I am the newly appointed middle school principal. I am actually coming from New Zealand, and I'd like to say it's 2:10 in the morning here. So just like some of you that will be tuning in remotely, globally, somewhere in the world. I'm absolutely excited and delighted to be appointed as the new principal, and I look forward to meeting everybody, getting to know the school, the community, the staff, and the team. So I look forward to sharing the presentation with David today and hoping to make sure you feel more comfortable about what's ahead in the new year.
And so as we begin, we just want to clarify what our purpose is for today. We understand that this is a challenging time for everyone. And so we want to provide you information about what school will look like, at least for the first 3 weeks of the school year, but specifically about what the first 2 days will look like on Monday and Tuesday of the week to come. And then we want to try to anticipate some of your frequently asked questions and some of the feedback that we have received, both in the second semester of last year when we moved to distance learning, but also in recent webinars that we've had, most notably on Wednesday. We had a webinar, whole school webinar, and some questions came from that. So we'd like to address those. And then the final thing that we'd like is just to give you and your family a sense of calm and a sense of certainty about EAB in uncertain times. And we just wanted to start by saying to you that we realize how hard this is for you, for your children, for your families, and for yourselves. And I was saying earlier to the group, you know, I have 3 children in the lower school, as I mentioned before, and it's really, really challenging to make sure that I'm doing my job as principal, my wife's doing her job in the high school, and then that our kids are learning, and that we're working with them and with their teachers to support that learning. So we understand that, and we've built our schedule, and we've kept that in mind throughout our planning for the year to come. And so in these uncertain times, we empathize with you. Adele, would you like to add anything to that?
Yes, I certainly would. Thanks, David. I'd like to pick that up. In these uncertain times, it really is challenging because we understand that you as a family are having to go to work as well. We as educators and learners, we know we're producing the work and delivering and teaching your children in the home, but we understand that your house is a busy home as well. So we really do empathise, and we know that we have to adapt and change as well. One thing I want to say too, that we're all connected globally about this, and we're all having to rethink education and what teaching and learning looks like and how we're going to work in these challenging times.
So at EAB, you know, our mission that you saw earlier, learners inspiring learners to be inquisitive in life, principled in character, and bold in vision. And we have been thrown into a situation where we have no choice but to be bold in vision. And also, you know, always being inquisitive and thinking, how can we do this better? While at the same time, thinking about what all of this means for education as a whole and moving forward once the coronavirus is past and once we go back to some sense of normalcy in our lives. One of the things that this situation has led us to really think about is what hasn't changed. What is the bedrock of the education at the American School of Brasilia, and what is fundamental about our community? And so what hasn't changed since we've moved to distance learning? The first thing is that We continue every day to try to fulfill our mission, our vision, and the traits for both character and for learners that we hold dear as an institution. Our academic expectations and our desire and our commitment to help students strive for personal excellence has not changed. And so our academic expectations are the same as they were in January or 5 years ago. Our curriculum hasn't changed, and that includes the International Baccalaureate, which I'll refer to as IB from here on out. But that's the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program, which the vast majority of our students take in grades 11 and 12. Our beliefs about assessment have not changed and how we measure learning. Most importantly, in my eyes, is the fact that the quality of our teachers has not changed, and their commitment throughout this and their dedication to your children has not wavered once since we moved to distance learning. We're all going through challenging times, but the teachers have been able to keep their focus on what's most important, and that's the learning and the well-being of your sons and daughters as students of our school. What else hasn't changed is that at EAB, we have great kids, and they want to learn, and they love learning, and they work hard to learn. And then the final thing is that EAB is known around the world as being a wonderful place, a warm place. And even though we can't physically be together, the warmth of our community has not changed. And the care that we have for our students and for each other has not wavered. Adele, would you like to add?
No, you've covered everything there, David.
Thank you. So what has been adapted? What have we been forced to rethink in distance learning? The first one is that normally in the high school and in the middle school, we have 80-minute classes. And we thought about that when we moved to distance learning. And we thought, you know, that's a long time for kids, 320 minutes a day to be in front of a screen. So we decided to shorten the classes to 55 minutes. We've also been forced to rethink how we provide instruction, how we work in teams, how we use technology, and how we assess our kids. Not what we believe about assessment, but how we assess our kids. And the final piece is that because our classes are shorter, we've opened up a considerable amount of time for small group meetings, for individual meetings, and for the time dedicated to students getting the help that they need outside of the large group classes. I'm not even going to try to hide it. My 4-year-old baby boy is having a little bit of a meltdown downstairs, and you may hear that a little bit. And it's just one of the challenges that we face in the world of Zoom and distance learning. And it happens a lot. And my students and kids have gotten to know my family really, really well during these times, because it's just the way that things are. So please excuse me and excuse Nico if you do hear him. So there have been some adaptations that we've made, but our core beliefs about instruction, about learning, about assessment, and about what we stand for as a community have not changed. Adele.
I'd just like to add that we've also adapted the pace of the learning and the delivery. And an example is that this year is that we are going to go slower, just making sure that everybody is comfortable in this new virtual distance learning environment, so that they understand that the tools that they're using, just like we would do in a normal day, getting all the how to learn set up in our classrooms, but certainly it's adapting the pace of delivery for the students. And I think that's really, really important, that our pace is different as well. The other one is just that limiting screen time as well. And we can go, actually, if you carry on, David, that'll come up in the schedule when you share the schedule.
Sure. It is important to note that going through this process, what have we prioritized? Learning is always the focal point for our school, but in the distance learning in the time of coronavirus, we've thought a lot about the emotional, social, emotional health of our students, about how kids are doing from a mental health perspective, how they're doing from a physical perspective. Are our kids taking care of themselves? And so we've spent a lot of time thinking about how do we ensure that our kids remain healthy, remain positive, and keep a routine that allows them to maintain good mental, physical, and emotional health. And so what's going to happen today is that we have this webinar, which will provide you information, but later this afternoon, you will receive something called What's on the Docket. And for those of you who are returning to our school, you know what the docket is. It is the organizational document that we send out every Friday to students and to parents. The docket will have the schedule for the first day, everywhere the kids need to be as they begin school on August 3rd. Also today, students will have access to all of their information, their class list, their schedule, all of their logins, especially for new students, will all come to you today. We have admitted a number of new students in the last few days, and so we are still just solidifying the schedule and making sure that everything is perfect when it goes out to your families. And so that will all happen today, that the Power School will be accessible for you and for your children, and that new students will get all of their logins and be able to enter into our information database. So our distance learning schedule, and before we talk about what's going to happen on Monday and Tuesday, our distance learning schedule for the first 3 weeks is going to look like this. Each day from 8 to 9:40, students are going to have teachers are going to have office hours. What happens during this time? This is the time when a teacher says, you know, I realized that student maybe didn't understand that piece of information, so I'm going to call them in and we're going to have a meeting to make sure that their learning is sound. And also kids can say, hey, teacher, I wasn't clear on something. Could we meet during this time? And we have 2 blocks of office hours, from 8 to 9:40 in the morning, and then from 3 to 4 in the afternoon. We made the decision to begin the school day later based on feedback that we received, but also based on research, which says that students of high school age and middle school age, they are better and more efficient if they wake up later in the day. So we want the kids to have really good night's sleep. So we decided to move the school day back until 9:40, except when students have office hours. And then at 9:40 on most days, the students are going to have flex group check-in. And we'll talk about flex groups in a little bit, but a flex group is a small group of students, 10 to 12 students, who have one teacher who is their flex group leader throughout the year. And it's somebody who they meet with every day. And so they have a point of contact on campus. Flex group leaders are going to take an important role, a more important role this semester, because they are going to take the lead on making sure that our kids remain healthy, as I spoke to you before, and focus on the well-being of our students. At the end of the 15-minute flex, at 10 o'clock, we'll have our first 55-minute block. Then we'll have a 10-minute break, and that was based on feedback from parents and students and teachers saying that 5 minutes to change from one meeting to another wasn't enough time. So we extended the time to 10 minutes. The second block will be from 11:05 to 12. Then we'll have lunch, and this is different than what we did last semester, and based on feedback, we made the change to have lunch earlier in the day for kids. Then the second half of the day, from 1 to 1:55, we'll have the third block, and then from 2:05 to 3, the fourth block. And then from 3 to 4, we'll have office hours, and also in both instances of office hours, there will be extra classes for our higher level IB diploma students. And so science and math and English teachers will be scheduling the HL extension time to give the students the hours that they need in their higher level classes to be successful in the IB diploma program. Adele, is there anything you would like to add to that?
Just some of the adaptations to the timetable, the schedule, is around also to limit the time for children in front of the screens. You know, we've listened to feedback there, and we understand, like ourselves, as any human working now in this distance learning environment, we need to have regular breaks from the screen. So the timetable has been adapted for that. The schedule, beg your pardon, the schedule has been adapted to that. The other thing is there, it allows for physical activity. We value that emotional, physical well-being of the students, so it allows for breaks as well through the timetable. So yeah, so lots of adaptations.
So what do things look like on Monday? On Monday, we're going to have an opening assembly. And it's a tradition, we always start the school year with an assembly, where we normally would get together in the auditorium and we have some fun rituals that we go through and some traditions, and we'll continue those in a shortened version on Monday morning. So we will have our opening assembly. And then the students will go to their flex groups, and they will be with their small groups, and they will be with their flex group leader. And the flex group leader will lead them through the schedule for the day to make sure that everybody is on the same page. All the kids know where they're going, and that we don't have any disruptions or any confusion around the first day schedule. And then at 12 o'clock, as we always do, we have a half day. And the first 2 days are going to be half days with shortened classes of 25 minutes. Why do we do this? One, because we want to give teachers time to start getting to know their students and to start building community within the learning environment before they begin entering into content in the work of the classes. Also, we wanted just to give the students a time to ease in to the beginning of the school year, because we realize that this is challenging for them. And so we want them to be able to see their peers, to meet their teachers, and to do those things, but we don't want to overwhelm them at the same time. On the second day, we're going to begin at 9:45. We'll have our flex groups for 15 minutes where the flex group leaders will once again go through the schedule and make sure everybody knows where they're going. They have all the links and they have to the meetings that they need. And then the school day will end at 12 o'clock again. But on this day, from 1 to 4, we're going to do something that we feel is very important moving into this school year. We're going to have every flex group leader meet with the family and the child of all of the students in his or her flex group. So we're going to have short 10-minute meetings where you get to meet your son or daughter's flex group leader. You get to say hello, you get to put a name with a face, and we start building the ties that between you as parents and your child and the flex group leader that will carry them through the school year. It is a goal of ours at EAB that every single student has one adult on campus in whom they trust and in whom they can confide in a time of difficulty. And so the flex groups are the structure that we use to ensure that this happens to the best of our ability. And so on Tuesday, August 4th, from 1 to 4, you're going to be able to meet your son or daughter's flex group leader. Adele, would you like to add anything about the first 2 days?
Just getting the children to start talking about what they can think about to share with their flex group leader would be things like their aspirations, what are they most excited about for the 2020 school year, some of their next steps in learning, what ignites their passion and fire inside them. So just getting them to start verbalizing some of those things so they go in and can best utilize that small period of time, which is 10 minutes, so that the teacher completely gets to know them, can go deeper and find out lots about them in that period of time. Enjoy. So
you are going to receive a sign-up email today. we believe that it will be sent today, and if not, it'll be tomorrow. But the idea is that there will be time slots, and you as a family will sign up for a 10-minute time slot with your son or daughter's flex group leader for Tuesday. And if you can't make it on Tuesday from 1 to 4, then we will schedule in other times during next week where we will make sure that you connect. We really want every student to have somebody who they know and who they trust, and we want you to be a part of that as parents. Okay. So what we thought we would do is we've gone over, some of the things that haven't changed, some of the things that have been adapted, and then what the first few days of school are going to look like for your children. But then we wanted to kind of anticipate some frequently asked questions that we've heard both last semester and then in recent feedback in over the first couple of days of our work year. But the first one is about the International Baccalaureate hours, and how are the kids going to get the number of hours that they have. In the International Baccalaureate program, there are 2 levels of classes. There are higher level classes and standard level classes. And the higher level require a higher number of hours in order to put the kids in a position to be successful. And so in order to add time to the HL students' time in each of the classes, we have what's called HL Extension. And HL Extension will be scheduled by individual teachers from 8 to 9:40 and from 3 to 4, so that all of our learners in our very hardest and most challenging classes will have more time to master the skills and content than they would in a standard level class. Second frequently asked question: how much work should our children have? We hope, because once again, and we'll keep saying this, because we want to make sure your kids have time to be outside, have time to play, have time to spend time with family and with loved ones. We hope that in grades 6 through 10, if your child works really hard and uses his or her time well from 8 to 4, that they should be able to accomplish all of the work that they have done that they need to do for their next class period. We can't guarantee that, especially in grades 9 and 10. It may take a bit more because grades 9 and 10 are preparing students for some of the most challenging academic courses in the world at the high school level when they go into grades 11 and 12. So we can't guarantee that, but as a school, we've used as a guideline the idea that, boy, if kids work hard throughout their school day, they should be able to be done or mostly done with their homework and with the expectations for the class. Adele, would you like to add anything to that?
Great.
Okay.
David, we have a parent asking what HL stands for.
HL stands for higher level. There are 2 different levels of International Baccalaureate classes. Higher level classes are college level classes. And when you complete higher level classes at most universities, you receive college credits because they are extremely rigorous college classes. Standard level classes are still rigorous and intense learning experiences, but they are at the standard level. And so each student, to get the IB diploma, has to take 3 higher level courses and 3 standard level courses.
Thank you, David.
And so the IB students will have considerably more work. And that's just the reality. The IB, at the end of 2 years of a 2-year program of study, students have external exams, and they have to be prepared to perform on those exams. And so IB students will have considerably more work. Our counselors and our team are very cognizant of the fact that IB students will have stress. And so we really pay attention and work with them to help them to overcome the challenges they face and to remain healthy. Frequently asked question number 3. Are classes recorded? The answer to that is yes. All classes are recorded, but they're not recorded as a means to review or rewatch classes. We don't share the videos with families. So why do we record the classes? We record them for child protection purposes. And this is a recommendation that has come from many different authorities and recommended by many different organizations, both within the United States and internationally, that say that in order to ensure that children are treated well and decently, that we record all classes. Okay, will MAP tests happen this year? And what is the MAP test? The MAP test is an external exam called the Measure of Academic Progress. And we have, in the last couple of years, we have really made a point to use the data that we collect from the MAP tests to inform us of what children need and where they may have gaps in their learning, and then to fill those gaps by building structures of support within the classroom and sometimes outside of the classroom. So the Measure of Academic Progress test, the MAP, will happen this semester, and more information will be forthcoming. And the final frequently asked questions that we have is, what about the seniors? And what about college applications? And I would just like to say to you that we do two things. One, the seniors in the high school are right now our highest priority, because they are the ones with the most on the line and that have been disrupted the most. We have a college counselor who is excellent. She had a baby girl called Millie in June, and so she is on maternity leave. But we were very lucky to be able to hire on an excellent and very experienced college counselor who's worked at 4 different international schools and spent many years working in the States as well, to support all 11th and all grade 11 and 12 students from a social emotional standpoint, but also and specifically for the grade 12 students as they enter the college application process. And within the first 2 weeks of school, he will be reaching out. His name's Bernie Lano. And Bernie will be reaching out to those of you who have seniors. He will be reaching out to set meetings to begin planning how they will go through the application process and how they will choose which schools to apply to. And we'll continue the work that our full-time counselor, Katie Lashir, who's on maternity leave, started with them last year as students in 11th grade. And so at that point, those were the 5 questions that we had heard from a number of people. And so just to end, before we take further questions, I would just like to add, and Adele, please feel free to jump in. You know, we built our schedule around the idea that we wanted our students to have 2 things as they go through this process. One, we wanted them to have a routine, because there's a tremendous amount of research that says in difficult times, with a lot of uncertainty, having a routine, having somewhere to go every day and somewhere to be is fundamental. So we made the decision, which is different from a number of schools in Brazil and around the world, to have a schedule and to have classes. Your children are expected to be at those classes. Attendance is taken. It's not something that they can miss. It's not something that is not mandatory. They need to be in their classes. And the second piece is that we wanted contact. We know that this situation has led to a higher sense of isolation for a lot of people, and we wanted kids to be able to interact with their peers and with their teachers on a regular basis, because we feel that will be good for not only their learning, but also for their mental health. And so everything that we have done has been centered around those 3 principles. 1, to ensure that learning continues. 2, to make sure that students have a routine so that they can maintain their well-being. And then 3, to continue building our community and focusing on the warmth and the joy that comes from being a part of the American School of Brasilia.
And
So
David,
Adele, please.
Yeah, I'll add number 4. It's around the well-being too of everybody that's involved. And when we talk about well-being for everybody, that includes the students, the staff, and you as parents. We absolutely go back to what we started with in the beginning. We completely understand how challenging this is for everybody. So just keep reaching out to us and sharing your experiences with us, because we're here to help. And here in New Zealand, we have a saying, around the world probably now, that we are all in this together. So, and the children are our focus. Thanks, David. We've got some questions. There's a question here that you might like. Would you like to answer a couple?
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
Just there's a question about the hours, estimate of the number of hours that IB students will be dedicating to class homework. There was just a question around when you commented considerably more. What did that mean?
That's hard to quantify, because with every student it varies. It will vary with every student. But here's how I would respond to that. If you feel that your child is overworked and is not handling the amount of work well, then please contact me immediately, because what I need you, or what I ask that you realize, is that, you know, we are doing our best to measure what our students can handle, but it's not an exact science, because every child is different, and this is a completely unprecedented situation for us. So please, if you sense that your son or daughter is struggling, that they have too much work, that they're not maintaining a balance, please reach out to us immediately and let us know, so that we can have conversations about how we adapt for the specific student, but also if we're being fair to all of our students. And many times over the course of distance learning from March until June, we would have our division meetings, and we would have conversations about, you know, we're hearing students are having a lot of work, there's a lot of stress, let's dial it back for a little bit, and let's rethink what is necessary and what is absolutely necessary for the students to learn, and then what can we take off of their plates. So though I don't have a definitive answer for you, I would say please pay attention to your son or daughter's well-being, and talk to them, communicate with them. And if you feel any unnecessary or overburdening stress, please let us know immediately, so we can react.
David, there are some other questions, but I think we'll be able to answer them together after this meeting.
Okay.
Is that all right? Yeah. Awesome.
Sure. Well, it's a strange thing, because I can't see any of the people in this meeting, and I know we've got 140 or so people here, and so it's hard to read the room, I guess, and see if there are any other questions, or if I need to give more time, or if we can say goodbye and wish you well for the weekend, and then look forward to Monday together as a community. And I loved what Adele said. We're all in this together, and we are absolutely committed to ensuring the learning and the well-being of your children during distance learning and beyond, and for whatever the future may hold.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Adele. We have the list of the questions that couldn't be answered through this meeting, but we can reach out to the people that send those questions. And I think that's it. Adele, do you wanna say anything else before we finish this?
No, I'd just like to say it's been a delight to meet you all. And just picking up what David said, I can't see any of you, but I know you can all see me. So I'm looking forward to getting to meet you when I arrive in Brasilia. and we can get back onto the campus. So thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon. Have a good day.